Wildlife found around your acreage can be very beautiful to watch. However, they can cause a great deal of damage. Between deer, rabbits, voles, and squirrels, as well as many other animals, a lot of damage can be done to your landscape and to your personal property. There are many signs for each of these creatures that you can watch for to determine which animal is causing the damage and then what you can do about it, if there is much at all that can be done. Deer are found very commonly throughout southeast Nebraska, especially on acreages. Deer are very beautiful mammals, but they are large and they can do a lot of damage. Male deer develop antlers throughout the spring and summer. These antlers are shed every year in the middle of the winter, and a new set is grown each spring. When the new antlers are grown, they are first covered with a velvet layer that eventually will be rubbed off by the buck during the early part of fall. To rub this layer off of their antlers, the deer will usually rub their antlers against a tree. When they rub against a tree, they will typically pull the bark off of that tree while they pull a velvet off their antlers. This can cause problems with the tree's overall health. If the bark is off the tree, it can be an entry point for diseases and insects to move into the tree, which can cause many secondary problems, including eventual death of the tree. When the deer are in the fall rut, or in their breeding season, they may sometimes scrape the ground around the base of that tree, which will pull out or kill any plants living at the base of that tree. The deer are going to do this to mark their territory. Deer can damage plants in more ways than by just rubbing on them or scraping around them. If a deer finds a particular path that goes to water or food, they will take the same path over and over again. This will leave a trail where it will kill out all of the other plants that would normally grow in the area, or push them to the side. This will leave a bare line through your nicely growing pasture or wildflower area. They may also go around and nip the ends off of branches of many of your trees and shrubs, which can be detrimental to the plant if done often enough or if too many are bitten off. You may also find deer tracks and deer scat around your acreage that will not hurt any of the plants, but can be used to determine if deer are around. There is no good fix for getting rid of deer from an acreage. If they are continually found, a fence can be used to exclude them from your property, but may not still be fully effective against them. A good method to train them to stay away is to put up an electric fence and put peanut butter on it. After trying to eat the peanut butter and becoming shocked, the deer will learn to stay away from your acreage. Rabbits can also be very detrimental to your landscape and your acreage, and there are always rabbits somewhere to be found. If you don't see the rabbit first, you may notice either the damage to your plants or the scat from the rabbit. Rabbit scat is different from deer scat because it is smaller and lighter colored. Rabbits don't seem to have too much of a food preference when it comes to your gardens and landscapes. Rabbits will chew off the tops of newly planted trees and shrubs at snow level during the winter. They will also chew off branches and girdle the tree as high up as they can reach. In the winter, the snow will give them an advantage to reach higher up on those plants. Control methods for rabbits is very similar to the methods used to control deer. Put up a fence to exclude the animal from getting to the plants. The fence for a rabbit doesn't need to be very high off the ground. A vole is another common pest of landscape settings. Voles are similar to mice, sometimes even called meadow mice or field mice, and are found due to the damage that they cause. More often, vole damage is seen more after a cold, wet winter when they struggle to find food. Vole damage on trees and shrubs is similar to the damage caused by rabbits. They both will chew around the base of tree trunks and around shrubs. Voles cannot chew to a very high spot on the tree. They seem to do more damage in winters with higher snowfall because the snowfall will help keep them protected from predators while they chew on the tree. Keep the snow and your mulch out away from the tree trunk so there's a little bit of a gap because voles like to be covered as they are girdling your tree. Another way to protect your tree is to surround the trunk with a plastic cylinder or some type of hardware mesh. The voles cannot get through that to the tree trunk and will not be able to harm the tree. Voles will also cause a lot of damage to your lawn. Vole damage to your lawn shows up as a small path of dead grass throughout an otherwise lush green lawn. Control of voles in a lawn would be to use toxicants labeled for use in lawns on voles or to use a trap. You may also find squirrels to be a problem on your acreage. Squirrels can cause problems to your landscaping when they chew the bark off of the trunk or off the branches of trees. Squirrel damage is often noticed by looking up into the canopy of the tree and seeing sections of branches with no bark, and there are usually many branches like this and they will be sporadic throughout your tree. Squirrels also tend to snip the ends of smaller branches off of trees. Many people will notice squirrel damage when they notice many branch tips lying all over their yard underneath their tree. Usually this damage is not too harmful to the tree, but it can become a problem if done repeatedly or in high quantity. For control of squirrels, trapping or exclusion from the tree would be the best two methods. On your acreage, you may have a pond, stream, or river somewhere. If so, you may have or you may eventually get beavers. Beavers can do a lot of damage to your water system and your acreage, including cutting down your trees, building dams, and causing flooding. You will know when your damage is from a beaver if you see tree stumps like the ones in these pictures. Beavers can be controlled by protecting the trees with fencing or by lethal beaver control. Beavers can be controlled lethally with traps after you have obtained the correct license from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Wildlife can be fun to watch on your acreage, and it is good stewardship to have habitat and food for them to survive with. However, wildlife can also be very detrimental to your landscape. If you watch for the signs of wildlife, hopefully you will catch them early enough and be able to control them to a less damaging stage on your acreage. Remember, all the wildlife that are found damaging your plants do not know that these plants are supposed to be in your landscape. They are just trying to find food. For the University of Nebraska-Lincoln Extension, I am Nicole Haxton.